What's the earliest story you can recall writing? Um, the earliest? Well, it's one of two. I can't remember which order they come in, but one was called The Bad Dog, and it was about this dog that goes around biting people. And the other, it was in my first year of school, and one day the teacher brings in this massive incubator, an actual proper mechanical incubator, and she gives us all an egg each, with a little number. None of us remembered which number was ours, and we had to place this egg in the incubator, and after about 4 weeks, it hatched into a little chicken. You'd never get away with this these days, animal cruelty and shit. But we then had to write a story about our chicken. And I think at one point my little chicken in the story walked across a field, but that's all I can remember about it. Oh, and a little crappy picture as well. But yeah, those are my two earliest stories. Will there ever be a Salador revival? For those who don't know, Salador was my first attempt at a novel when I was 11, 12, something like that. And it survived for quite a while. It was a sort of sci-fi thing set on a future human colony where everything was just this little bit crazed, where there were just one too many lunatics about. And it all ended with a song. There was actually an animated version as well, but that sort of went the way of the dodo about 2 months ago when I threw the disc out. But that's not the point. You want to know about the revival. Short answer, no, because other worlds, that kind of sci-fi, I don't write that kind of stuff anymore. It's just, no, I just don't do it. So there's, at the moment, no chance of a Salador revival. I mean, I tried when I was about 16, I think, to rewrite it, to rework it, but no. What is the most insane thing you've ever written? Real Actually. It's Love Actually meets The Wicker Man in real. With a giant wicker effigy of Carol Vorderman. I say every year that my Christmas stories get more and more and more insane, and I say every year that I'm never going to top it. And I think this year, I mean, you just have to go and read it to see how mental it is, especially from the third chapter onwards. It's pretty crazy, and I'd say, yeah, the most insane thing I've ever written. And it could get even more insane with Volume 2, but let's not go there. Do you have any plans for a live-action adaptation of any of your stories? Possibly. How did Will come to be sexually ambiguous? I'm not really sure. It just sort of happened over time. It was just sort of a natural progression of the way his character has gone over the time I've been writing him. I mean, he's shy when it comes to sex anyway, so it stands to reason that he's not going to talk about his sexuality. I mean, he's not gay, he's not straight, he's not bisexual, he's not asexual, he just isn't defined by sexuality. He's sexually ambiguous. He'll fuck who he wants to fuck and fuck anyone who tells him not to. Has doing a master's/PhD changed what you write at all? No, I don't really think so. I think my work has definitely matured a little over the last year. Definitely. And there's some things I would never have written without being here. There was this year's Halloween story, which was called The Upturned Cross, which was a sort of exorcist piss take. And I'd have never written that story if I hadn't been walking home one day and seen this upturned cross on the wall above a takeaway. I'd have never written that. But other than that, no, I don't think my work has been that much affected by it. Although I'm writing shorter stuff now, a lot shorter stuff, so maybe in terms of length, yeah. Although I'm definitely releasing a lot more than I used to, which should not be happening when I'm doing a PhD. Is there any story you regret writing? Not so much, no. Rebels, which was a book I released about 2012, I think. Yeah, I'm not too proud of that these days. I mean, that's why I've decanonised that now. That's why that's no longer available. Just because it wasn't very good. But I don't regret writing it. There's really nothing I have reason to regret writing. What are some of the things you have written but have thrown away, disposed of? Most of them were when I was doing the stories for what ended up as a collection called The Inn of Last Orders. There were a couple of stories in there which just weren't working. There was one about a little girl who went missing. That didn't really work. There was one about a lady being tortured on a boat, which, it never went anywhere. There's two stories in that collection called Barry Erskine. There might still be a third part of that, but there was going to be a lot more, but I just nipped it in the bud. Kept the ending sort of ambiguous. There was a take on Graham Greene's The Third Man in there, which didn't work. Speaking of which, whatever happened to Liverynth? Liverynth, yeah, a story about the street pattern of Liverpool. Two days later. That's the trouble with having to film in here. You get interrupted and it takes sometimes 2 days to start again. Never mind. Where was I? We're going to get interrupted again, you know this, right? Yeah. Where was I? Oh, that's right, Liverynth. Idiot here threw the manuscript in the bin. I don't know why. I'd only copied half of it to my computer. Not even half of it. Wasn't even finished. So, Lord knows what I'm going to do with the rest of that, what I've got of it. I'm thinking it might be a bit pretentious anyway. A bit too much. So I might just start again. I've started again before, so... Can you tell us a little bit about what's to come in Real Actually? What's the matter, Harris? You never taken a shortcut before? What are your plans going forward into 2020? Well, we've got the second volume of Real Actually. There's a new short book in the works. A serial entitled, at the moment, The Last Bandit. And possibly, if I get the rest of them done, the rest of the illustrated editions, the first half of the next Dark Legend book. Possibly. But yeah, there you go. That was just a quick writing Q&A. Just filler material, really. I need to take some photographs for Instagram. Wonder if I can get into the quad.